Hey, welcome back, comic fam. Welcome to my comic haul video for this week. We're going to give you a little spec action. We're going to give you my favorite cover. We're even going to give you the cliffhanger of the week right after this. Alright, welcome back. We got a ton of books this week. It was actually a lighter week than usual in some ways for me, but most of these are Marvel books. Marvel had a lot of books come out this week. So, picked up a bunch of those. Let's get right into the comics. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, notification bell, all that stuff. But let's get to the comics. That's the important part. So, first off, we got Strange Academy number 5. Really good issue here. It's a really good book. It's good for the whole family. And let me tell you that, the first 3-4 issues were all about introduction to the characters at the academy, the students. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty. The stakes are high. This book is going to give us something that makes us fear for those characters, and I think it's going to make us care for those characters even more than we have to this point. So this is the book where things have changed from kind of a nice pleasant introduction to we're going to get into some trouble here, or the students are going to get into some trouble here, and they're going to give us a really good story. So I think Scotty Young's doing a really good job with that. Humberto Ramos is doing great on the art. So that book, definitely worth a pickup. Things are really going to get going in that book. So if you like Strange Academy, I'd say stick with it. Get this issue. It's really going to give you something. There's going to be some meat now to that skeleton. All right. Next up, we got Savage Avengers number 14. This is a really fun book. There's no better way to put it. Everything that happens in here usually makes me pretty happy. Laugh a lot. You got Magic and Conan teaming up to go find Juggernaut. They find the Juggernaut and then they add Black Knight to their team, all to go battle an Asgardian dragon. So that sounds like a pretty cool team on a pretty cool mission. So definitely worth a read if you're looking for a fun time. Next up, we got Darth Vader number 7. First appearance of the Sith assassin Ochi of Bestoon. So just for that reason, this is a good spec book to pick up. Other than that, this is really taking Darth Vader to a dark place. Like we're very used to Darth Vader being the guy in charge, the guy with the rage, and not the guy who's on the run. That is exactly what this book is giving you in an opposite form. Darth Vader now is the guy on the run. Darth Vader is the guy avoiding the rage. Darth Vader is the guy in trouble. So go ahead, pick up that book if you want to see Vader struggle a little bit. It's a good read. It's a very good read. Greg Pak on that book. All right, next up we have Amazing Spider-Man number 52, part of the Last Remains storyline. You have Spider-Man going face to face with Kindred in this book, and you have Spider-Man sacrificing himself like usual for his friends. And boy, is there a big cliffhanger at the end of this book. So if you've waited 52 issues for something big to happen in this book, it finally has. I think because it took that long, people are sleeping on this book. But believe me, when you read this, you'll go like, that can't be the end. So, really good book this week. ASM 52. I know a lot of people have shied away from it. Might be worth a pickup just for that one to see what happens at the end. Or if you're at your LCS, flip to the back page. You'll see what I'm talking about. And for number 52, we got the Indigenous cover. I'm a big Spider-Man fan. Couldn't pass this up. I thought this cover was dope. So I got the Indigenous cover. And then there's 52 LR, which is a spin-off. And this kind of focuses on the side characters. So Doctor Strange, Black Cat, they're trying to help Spider-Man. And like we know, Spider-Man himself, he's a do-it-yourselfer. He doesn't like to get his friends involved, doesn't like to get anybody else involved, wants to keep everybody safe. And so he's pushed these guys aside, doesn't want their help, but they know he needs their help. And hopefully they'll find him in time and give him some help. So that is what that little spin-off is about. It's about Spider-Man's friends trying to go help him. All right, we're going to move on to X of Swords from Marvel. And we have 15 of Marauders, but this is part 14 of 22 of X of Swords. By far, Marauders is my favorite X-Men title. I just think Jerry Dugan does an excellent job, along with Benjamin Percy, who helps with this. They just write an excellent story. It's action-packed. It gets dark when it needs to, but it's very lighthearted and comedic. And all the characters are different notes. Like, nothing is one note in this book. And it just keeps you engaged. Like, every time I read this, I get to the last page and I go, that's it? Like, why is it done so soon? So, by far, my favorite book. We have the first sword battle picked in this issue. We have Wolverine plays a major part. There's actually two. This is a short story at the beginning, which kind of shows what could have been a possible future. And then we get into what's actually happening. And believe me, there are a lot of things going on in this series. If you thought it was just going to be all sword fighting, it's not. There is sword fighting, there is action, but there's lots of trickery, lots of games of skill and contest. It really kind of brings you back to those medieval jousting matches, where it wasn't just about the joust. It's about skill too. It's not just about kill your opponent. There's a lot of things going down in here. But that brings me to Excalibur number 14, part 15 of 22 of X of Swords. You have your first battle here with Captain Britain. And let me tell you, it doesn't go the way everybody wants it to. Actually ends kind of oddly. So we're not even quite sure what happened during the battle. But a lot of stuff in there. Cool entry into the series. Good read, and if you're on X of Swords, you gotta read it to keep the train going. It's the first battle. And then we have Wolverine number 7, part 16 of 22. This is a Wolverine-based book, or Wolverine-centric book. So Excalibur was kind of Captain Britain focused. This one is obviously Wolverine-based. I will say this week you get a lot of Wolverine. So you get a lot of Wolverine in Marauders, and then you get a lot of Wolverine in Wolverine. The Wolverine goes through some stuff in this book, let me tell you. But if you like classic Wolverine, you're really going to want to pick up Wolverine number 7. He's at his best there. All right, we're moving on to DC, and we have Detective 1030. This is still kind of an introduction to the Mirror. So he's in here. You also have Damian Wayne and Batman kind of struggling with their relationship right now in that book. But this book is not action-packed. It's still an intro into the villain, the Mirror. So it's good, but you know, it may leave you wanting more. And so with that said, I think this may be the first full appearance of the Mirror. So the last issue, 1029, may have been the first cameo. Could be wrong. That 1029 could have been the first full appearance. So don't quote me on that. But this may be a possible spec book. Possible. All right. Next up, we have Dark Knight's Death Metal Infinite Hour Extreme number 1. So this is all about your main man, Lobo. And if you've ever read a Lobo book, it's going to be brash. He's going to be cocky in that book. It could get a little sexual. It's going to be some drinking going on. It's going to be a good time. So it's a fun, really fun read. The art was cool. There are several different writers on here. So you have Frank Thierry, Becky Cloonan. I think Stan Humphries is the other writer. But it is a good time. And you have a Batman who has genetically enhanced himself with Lobo-like genetics. So that he's basically the Batman who's Lobo. That's not what he calls himself in there. I forget the term. Maybe I'll put it up here in the video. But anyway, that is a fun book. So if you're on death metal, I recommend it. Like, keep the party going if you're trying to stay away from these one-shots and stuff. Because basically in this book, Lobo is kind of like the last guy who can possibly save the universe too. So it kind of feels like an important part to the death metal series. Last up from DC, we got Punchline number 1. Big book this week. It is a one-shot. And this is really, I think, setting up the future for Punchline in the DC universe. So I think Punchline really has some staying power, especially after reading this. This is just going to give her more footing in the DC universe. But basically, Punchline's playing games in here. And she's kind of getting the crowd and the people behind her. And as you know, she was the Joker's like number 2, and she's trying to get off from everything she did here. So, with that said, the stakes are high, because should Punchline be deemed not mentally incompetent, she stands to go on death row, and not to Arkham. So I think this is a good series that's going to set up Punchline for 2021 and beyond. Definitely worth a read, especially if you're a big fan of Punchline, the Joker, Batman, anything in that universe. Go ahead and pick that up. All right, we're going to move on to the indies and Boom Studios, and we've got 7 Secrets number 4. This is the Jenny Frison B cover. And with issue 3 of 7 Secrets, we were thrown into the action of the book. And now in issue 4, it's all action, which is cool. Love it. Love the action. And I love that the main character is the narrator of the story. And so he lets us know, even though by the end of this book, the good guys have won, it kind of ends on a cliffhanger where the narrator lets us know that we won the fight, but we did not win the war. So there's going to be some repercussions for what happened here. But basically, the bad guys come guns a-blazing. The good guys realize this, kind of set a trap up for the bad guys, kind of obliterate them in some ways. And they think they've won, but they haven't. And so the narrator, who's the main character of the story, he's kind of telling it from a future perspective. So he's one step ahead of us in the book. He already knows what's going to happen in the future. So I think that's a really fun thing about this book, 7 Secrets. I would definitely pick it up if you can. Still relatively early in the series. We're on issue 4. So it's not like you would be super lost should you hop on now. Issue 3 is kind of where the action starts, and issue 1 and 2 are introductions. So I think you could start with 2 or 3 and still be relatively caught up in that series. Last, we have from Boom Studios, issue number 3 of We Only Find Them When They're Dead. And that is an excellent, excellent series. Excellently written, excellently drawn. Al Ewing has done it again. He's gave us another great title. And I can't stop myself from recommending it. And it ends on such a great cliffhanger. Because, as you know, they are... Well, you don't know. I don't know if anybody out there has read it. But it's happening in space. But they're in a new part of space. And this is the issue that lets us know stuff is about to happen. Stuff is about to go down. We've had the intro. We've had the introductory part to the story. And now we're getting to that inciting action. This is what's going to take us into the next part of this book and really, really help us delve into the story. And I'm really excited to see where this story goes. It ended on such a cool cliffhanger. So for that reason, this is going to be my read of the week. We Only Find Them When They're Dead, because it is amazing. Did a really good job with the cliffhanger. And it's just a good story overall. Really well written, like I said. And the art is excellent. So, we can go through the rest of the books real quick. Minor spec for this week, possibly Punchline, because I think it's going to set up some stuff for the future. But that wouldn't be my number 1 spec this week. My number 1 would probably be Darth Vader number 7, because we have that assassin, Ochi of Bestoon, in there. So that's going to be my spec of the week. Probably my cover of the week. It's going to be this guy, ASM 52, the indigenous cover. I just think the art, the colors, it's just really cool. The lines. I don't know how to say this guy's name. Also, this is upside down. This is actually how the cover goes. But I think it's Viregi or Virigi. So he's doing a really bang up job on that. And all the rest of the books this week were great. I would say Marauders was a really close number 2 for read of the week. it's got everything you want. I can't say any more about it. It's got the action, it's got the comedy, it's got the art. It's really well paced. Timing is great. The characters in it are great. It really makes me care about Apocalypse as a person. So I think it's doing a really cool job. And if you want a really surprising, another great cliffhanger of a book, ASM number 52, definitely worth a pickup if you want your jaw to drop at the end. I'm just saying. So that's all I got, comic fam. Thank you for joining me once again with my comic haul. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know what you got that I might have missed. Let me know if what we got that was the same that you enjoyed. And let me know if anything in there you just didn't like. And if you can, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, subscribe. And that's about it, guys. So guys, do what you do. I'm gonna do what I do. I'm gonna go put these comics in the PC and get ready for next week. Peace. Do what you do. Peace.